Hello, and in today's video we are doing very rapid fire predictions for match week number 11 of the 2023 to 24 Premier League season. Now, I admit this is poor from me. I've had a busy week and I just haven't had the time to squeeze it in before this morning. So yeah, I know it's a bit late and it might be hard for any of you guys to get your predictions in time, but do the best you can. At least predict some of the games, maybe the Sunday games, the Monday kickoff, maybe even the 5:30, but just try and get some score predictions in the comment section below when you see this, and share it with a friend who you know wants to comment their predictions for this week's round of games. So there's some exciting matches. We're going to go straight to it though, no messing about. As I said, rapid fire. I appreciate this was a bit late, but I just had other things on. So let's get into my Premier League predictions for match week number 11. We've got first up, Fulham against Manchester United. Now, of course, Marcus Rashford. What an unfair thing that is. I mean, he's been outed for going on a birthday party for himself after they've lost. Okay, it's unfortunate they lost the game, but he wasn't to know that. He's still got a birthday, and he's not celebrating the fact they've lost. He's celebrating the fact he has another year of his life. That's fair enough. Like, the fact is, he's getting outed for it, and it's, what can he do? He's going to go on a party. Obviously, it's unfortunate timing right after the game that they lost, but they could have won that game and then he'd have another reason to celebrate, and they might say, oh, well, footballers shouldn't, do stuff outside of football right after a match. It's not professional, but this guy's got to have an outside life. So I think it's incredibly harsh on Marcus Rashford, but, that's the thing it is. That's the way it's gone, so it is what it is, right? And I don't think that Manchester United will punish him massively, but it's just he's not been in the squad for these Fulham games, so it's interesting. But yes, interesting lineup as well for Fulham, benching Bobby De Cordova-Reid. Did not see that coming. But also, yeah, Manchester United, they obviously lost in midweek against Newcastle in the Carabao Cup, a terrible performance. So it is looking like a good game for this Fulham side, who, to be fair, haven't scored goals this season, but the way United are defending with Varane, I think Varane was possibly, looking like he might have come back for this game. Obviously, Maguire's not exactly been amazing at Manchester United. It's a bit of an understatement, really. But obviously, for this game, Varane is still not fit. So Maguire's alongside Evans, and that will mean that Manchester United have, a bit of a work to do in that respect. But Garnacho with a rare start. We've not seen a lot of those, so let's see how he does. I think he comes in possibly for Varane, I'm not sure. No, I don't think Varane started the Man City game, but Amrabat's on the bench, Reguilon's on the bench. They've got bench options, but not many attacking options. Obviously, Martial, if needed, off the bench. But yeah, interesting lineup for Manchester United. Eriksen, McTominay, and then Antony starts with Garnacho on the other side. And then it's a big game, I think, this one for Rasmus Højlund. It's a big fixture. I think he could do something here, but let's see. Fulham, on the other hand, obviously they've started fairly, as they would, but as I say, no De Cordova-Reid. They've got Rodrigo Muniz up front rather than Carlos Vinicius, which is certainly an interesting choice, or Raul Jimenez, of course, but Vinicius is on the bench, as is Raul Jimenez. And then they've got Willian as well on the other side, as you'd expect, and Pereira in the midfield. So I think Fulham could have a go at this Manchester United side, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a Fulham goal. But I think United probably still win. So I'm going to predict Fulham 1, Manchester United 2. Surely they can't keep being this bad, even with better fixtures. I don't know. But we'll have to see. Goal scorers in this game, I think Fulham actually will score first, and I think it will be a cheeky little goal, not from the man you think, that is Willian, but instead it's Harry Wilson. Then it's a goal for Manchester United from, I think, a bit of Johnny Evans to get on the score sheet. Yes, believe it or not, with the first goal for Manchester United since he's come back. And then the second Manchester United goal, as I mentioned earlier, Rasmus Højlund. Okay, next up is Brentford against West Ham. Now, I think this is an exciting game. Both sides looking great this season. West Ham, the last few games have dropped off though, so I think there's maybe a chance for Brentford to win this one, but I don't know. It's a tough one to call. I think Jarrod Bowen will do well. I think West Ham away from home have played well this season, and actually Bowen has scored often away from home, so I think he'll score again. And Brentford looked good in their game against Chelsea, obviously, and then you'd expect them to beat Burnley, but I've just got a feeling West Ham, after the bounce they've got from the win against Arsenal in the Carabao Cup, that will help them here. I'll go for Brentford 0, West Ham 2, and Bowen to get the first for the Hammers. And then the second West Ham goal, I have a feeling that will be a little goal from none other than James Ward-Prowse. Now, it is Burnley against Palace. Now, I feel this game does end to a Palace victory, but I think it'll be tight. I think both these defences, obviously, Burnley have struggled defensively. Palace have looked one of the best defences in the league. Palace haven't scored a lot of goals, though, so maybe Burnley will fancy their chances of a clean sheet here. But I just feel it'll be a tight game. 1-0 Crystal Palace, the only goal from Mark Guéhi. Then it's Everton against Brighton. Now, this is a game on paper you'd say, actually, Everton are in good form and Brighton haven't been the best recently. Obviously, not winning against Fulham was a bit disappointing, but they are scoring goals, Brighton, still. They are one of the top scorers in the league. So I think this Everton defence will struggle up against Brighton, and I think Brighton win this game by 2-0. I think the first goal of the game will come from Kaoru Mitoma, and the second goal for the Seagulls I think will come from Tariq Lamptey. Okay, next up, it is a game between Man City and AFC Bournemouth. Now, I feel Man City win this game, but I don't think people will smash Bournemouth. Now, of course, Ragu, I think it's Ragu, or is it Radu? No, it's not. It's not the meal Ragu steak or whatever, or Ragu pasta. It's Radu for Bournemouth has been starting because there's an injury to Neto, so that's obviously a problem for Bournemouth. But I still feel Man City will win this fairly comfortably. I think City, they're so strong at the moment. They played so well in the game against trying to think Brighton when they put a few goals past them. They played some great stuff. And then obviously Man United were awful. So I don't think City even got into second gear, to be honest. They were just all over United. They were so poor. But to be fair to Onana, he made some good saves. City could have had more. So I think City will feel their boots here. But 3-0. Goals in the game, I think there'll be 2 from Erling Haaland. And the third goal for Manchester City, Phil Foden, who's got a good record against the Cherries. Now it's Sheffield United versus Wolves. Big game, obviously. Big game especially for Sheffield United because although Wolves have been in good form, this is the sort of home fixture they would have probably circled in the calendar, a winnable game. Now, of course, Sheffield United have been awful this season and they've not scored enough goals. They've conceded loads. But I think Paul Heckingbottom's probably still getting backed by the owners. I think they could maybe just start to pick up 1 or 2 points here or there, but these are the sort of games they need to do that. I think Wolves are in good form, though, ultimately, and I'm really impressed by Gary O'Neill, tactically, the way he sets them up, and they're scoring goals. I know that they've just got Pedro Neto out injured, but Hwang Hee-chan has been on fire, and they've also had good goals from the likes of Mateus Cunha and Kalajic. So I think, actually, Wolves will win this game fairly comfortably. Sheffield United might score, though, so I'll say Sheffield United 1, Wolves 2, which doesn't sound comfortable, but I think it will be generally. Goal scorers, Sheffield United's goal scorer I think will come from Cameron Archer, but then Wolves goal scorers I think it will be a brace from Hwang Hee-chan, assisted firstly by Ryan Aït-Nouri and then by Totti Gomez. Next up, it's Newcastle versus, and it's live, and I'll be watching this one. It should be an exciting game at St James's Park because I feel this game has goals, really. I think both sides score. I think Newcastle have been really, really good the last few weeks. Obviously, under Eddie Howe, they're impressive under the takeover. Obviously, though, Arsenal have been strong this season, and they haven't scored tons of goals, I feel, like Arsenal, but they're still winning games, and they've played some great stuff. Obviously, last week, it was a game against, a game you fancy them, obviously, and they hit 5, but Nketiah, with Jesus still being out, he'll fancy his chances. I think Newcastle, though, will try and keep it tight where possible, and I think this will be a great game. I'll say Newcastle 2, Arsenal 2. I think first goal scorer of the match, Anthony Gordon, to get Newcastle up and running. Then Arsenal will hit back with a goal from Martin Ødegaard. The second Arsenal goal scorer, I feel, will be a defender this time, and this defender, Ben White. But then Newcastle get their second goal of the game, and this time it's Callum Wilson. So I feel that's the game it will be on the Saturday night. Then Sunday games should be exciting ones as well. I think Forest against Villa should be exciting. Obviously a bit of a derby, so it could be a bit tasty. But I think Forest do lose this one because although Villa, they've been really good, and Forest, their home record, their kind of atmosphere at the City Ground is fantastic. I still feel Villa, they're such good form right now. Ollie Watkins still in great form. I know he didn't score last week, but they've got so many threats, Aston Villa. Moussa Diaby, Ollie Watkins, Douglas Luiz has been popping in with goals. So I think, yeah, Villa win this one. But I think Forest will give it a good go. Forest 1, Villa 2. Forest will score first, I think. And this one will come from a man who really hasn't been a man to score the goals, but I think this week it will be one for Willy Bolly. But then Aston Villa goal scorers, I think firstly Matty Cash against his former side, and then Ollie Watkins to win the game for the away side there. Now it's Luton v Liverpool. Big game, obviously, for Luton. Now, of course, they will struggle, I think, because Liverpool, they've got some world-class talents in there that could rip Luton to shreds. We'll have to see. Obviously, they only lost 1-0, but they still did lose against Tottenham a few weeks back, Luton. But I think Kenilworth Road, to be fair to them, although it's a small stadium and it's obviously a really small attendance, because of the way the stadium's designed, they get on top of the players and it makes it quite hard for visiting teams, even if, you know, they're not winning games, Luton, at home. But I still feel Liverpool put a few past Luton here. I think people will say it could be a 7 or an 8. I don't think it'll be that many, but I still feel it'll be a fairly comfortable Liverpool win. I'll say Luton Town 0, Liverpool 4. Goal scorers for the Reds, I think 2 goals will come for Liverpool from Darwin Núñez, then 1 from Mohamed Salah, and the final goal for Liverpool, I think, assisted by Kostas Tsimikas, it will be a goal for the legend that is, in midfield, Dominik Szoboszlai. Now, it's Tottenham versus Chelsea, a big London derby in the capital on Monday night on Sky Sports, and it's live. And you imagine Peter Drury will be on the mic for this one. I don't know, we'll have to see. The legend that is Peter Drury, absolute poet at work. Now, Tottenham, I do feel, are really, really good right now, and we know this. Under Ange Postecoglou, they have been playing really well, scoring goals. It's all looking rosy. But Chelsea, to be fair to them, they're not as bad as people make out. Obviously, this season it's not gone to plan, but they've scored goals when they needed to, and Sterling, obviously, he's a big game player. He could turn up for this one. And also, obviously, Chelsea have had Reece James come back now, so he will be, you would imagine, starting this one. So I think Chelsea will give Spurs a bit of a go, but I still feel Spurs are strong enough to win this one. Tottenham 3, Chelsea 1. I think Chelsea goal scorer, I mentioned it, but I'll go for Raheem Sterling. And then we've got Tottenham goal scorer as well. I think this will be firstly Son Heung-min, James Maddison, and then the third Spurs goal scorer. I've got a little feeling that there'll be a strike here from Mickey van der Ven once again. But those are my predictions for match week number 11 of the 2023-24 season. Get yours in the comments ASAP. Just tell a mate, tell a friend, share the link and get those in, and we can see how you score in a future video. But thanks for watching today. I've been Roberto the Hornet. You've been Legends. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.